Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered. Three-handle family Gradunzel.
Mamma mia!
And now,
Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
number four, armbar.
I will never retire!
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I am your host, Greg Unchained. As you listen to this, it is Monday, so you know what that means. It's time for the Impact Zone. We are going to talk Impact Wrestling with Jay. How you doing, Jay?
Good, thanks, Greg. How are you?
I am well. We're putting on a brave face because really we're probably both getting quite tired. We've just finished talking about All In for an All In podcast with everyone. We're all in for All In that you're going to hear probably tomorrow or the next day, depending on my schedule when I'm able to get it out. But it is currently 1 a.m. where Jay is. So things we do for you people.
Exactly. The things we do to keep a quality product going ahead.
I like to think it's quality, but I guess we'll let the people be the judge of that. Let's talk Impact though. So let's get straight into it. Overall, this week was a really good week for Impact. I really enjoyed the show.
I just think they're getting better, like we said last week, and like we say every week with Impact. They just keep getting better and better with their product.
Yeah, I think there's been it's a general trend upwards, but there have been over the last month or so 1 or 2 weeks that I've thought weren't as good as previous weeks, but it is a general uptrend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, considering where they've come from.
Oh, definitely considering where they've come from. Yeah, there's only one way to go, really.
Yeah.
So the show started with Eddie Edwards coming out and doing his Madman stick and, sorry, stick. It's not a stick. He has a kendo stick, but he's doing his Madman shtick and, saying that he's an honest man and he can admit that he had his ass kicked, but he dusts himself off and he comes back. So I guess they're trying to make him a babyface. It's a weird tweener kind of character.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying where they're going with this.
I like it. I think he does a really good job portraying it. And that's the key is if the wrestler is good at portraying the character, you want to watch them no matter what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel as if where they're going with this angle, I think we're going to see in some form Tommy Dreamer again.
Yeah.
Just because of the Austin Aries Killer Cross stuff. Now that Austin Aries has got Killer Cross right behind him, Edwards will bring in Tommy Dreamer as an equalizer, I think.
It's possible. I don't know what the contract situation is. I feel like Tommy was only there for Slammiversary because kind of like when you get the legends come in for WrestleMania,
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like maybe that was kind of the deal with Tommy, but it could definitely see it happening though. But he had an equalizer here tonight, so he says he's here because he wants to fight, and he calls out Austin Aries and Killer Cross. They come out and they say, yeah, Austin's like, yeah, you're dangerous, whatever, but I found someone even more dangerous. And they get in. Long story short, they end up fighting. He tries to attack him with the kendo stick, and then the numbers game gets the better of him. One of my favorite moments of the night, Killer Cross locking in the cross jacket choke, and then Austin Aries locking in the figure four.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, that would have hurt.
Yeah. And it was insane to look at as well.
Yeah, it was a good visual. It takes up the whole screen. I know it was very impressive, I thought. And then Moose comes out for the save.
Yeah. Well, I actually just seeing him on notes. I've got Moose comes out. I completely forgot about Moose.
Yeah, so he's the equalizer here, not Tommy Dreamer. But I mean, it could still potentially happen if they take Moose out again, because Moose was talking about maybe not wrestling again. But I think that was just an angle because of the concussion. I don't know. I never know what's real anymore.
I still think Tommy Dreamer returns in some form, just because they've got Bound for Glory around the corner. Bound for Glory is Impact's WrestleMania.
Yeah. Well, you could make the argument for Slammiversary too.
Yeah.
Because Bound for Glory's had some, some gimmicks attached to it that let's not go there. So Moose comes out for the save. Really good pop for Moose, which surprised me. The crowd were into it because, like I said, Moose has tended to bore me lately, but the crowd were into it. And Aries' face when the music hit, Aries sold me on it. I was like, oh, he's actually scared of Moose.
Yeah. It made everyone believe that he was scared of Moose.
Yeah, Austin Aries is just amazing. Like everything he does is gold.
He's like I said last week. He's gone from strength to strength since leaving the WWE.
Yeah, and definitely. Now then we get an OVE camcorder promo about everything being Pentagon's fault, and tonight Sammy is going to settle it once and for all. Where
does Sammy go after this?
Well, I mean, I guess we'll get to that in the main event because there's still more room for more stories with Pentagon, I think.
Yeah, but like
I don't know, like,
but like when he's saying that he's gonna finish Pentagon tonight, like where does that see him taking it? Where do you think he takes it from there?
Right,
like
I have no idea.
This is a prediction.
I have no idea.
Type of thing.
Okay, what do you got?
Like I see maybe, like I'm contradicting myself here a bit, but maybe he could go back to Eddie Edwards again. Because remember, they had unfinished business.
They do still have unfinished business.
I do remember when we were talking about this on Impact, when we said Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan would feud again in the future. Is this a way of having Eddie turn into a face from series and going back to Sammy?
I mean, maybe. I think that it's still a little too soon for them to come back to that. But I don't know. Because there's still all the stuff with Alicia Edwards as well is confusing me. I have no idea. Like, Don Callis is putting over that they're separated. Like, after the break, Moose is celebrating, and Alicia comes in and thanks Moose for having Eddie's back. And then she goes to get ready for her match, but she tells Eddie, like, don't touch me. I don't know. There's there's seeds for things that need to be, like, threads that need to be pulled on, but we don't know enough about what's going on. And that's the thing with Impact. Like, normally I can look at a thing and go, this is where I want the story to go, or this is where I think the story is going, right? Like, I study narratology as a big part of my mythology work and what have you. And it's... Yeah, Impact actually have me at a point where I'm like, I'm not sure where this is going, and I'm just watching because I enjoy it. I'm at that point with the Killer Cross Austin Aries part. I'm at that point with the Eddie Edwards. I'm at that point with Sami Callihan. I'm at that point with, later in the show, I'm at that point with LAX and the OGs. So Impact are telling stories in a way that is actually taking me off guard a little and making me think, like, I don't have a clue where they're going, and this is very interesting to me.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
It's really fun. It's really fun to watch Impact. I get to sort of check out for a bit, and I very much enjoy it. Then we got Zachary Wentz against Matt Sydal. Matt Sydal wins handily. The Wentz got in some token offense, but nothing major. And
I noticed he's got a new finisher again.
Yeah, another new finisher. Why not? They didn't have a name for it either, but
it was like a page turner.
A little bit. It's a bit random that, like, this match just felt random. I don't know.
Yeah, it was out of nowhere.
I don't know what the point was. I guess it's just getting some heat back on Matt Sydal because he's had a couple of losses now, and you need to build him up.
I think this also puts Sydal in a bit of a stalemate as well. Like, Like, I don't know where they're going with this.
Yeah, well, he's got his third eye open, and he said he wants to open everyone's third eye. So
Yeah,
maybe he's going to start trying to convert people.
Yeah, it's kind of not selling to me.
You know where he could go? He could end up with. I mean, look, the Cult of Lee. They're looking for something, right? I mean, we'll get to it soon, but they have some more stuff with Drake, and it doesn't look like that relationship's going to pan out,
Yeah,
to say the least. But we could see Cult of Lee become Cult of Seidel, and maybe their third eyes get open because they look like they're pretty easy to manipulate. And we could see Matt Seidel become a cult leader.
yeah. Well, that actually makes sense
With the character, yeah.
because it's talking about a third eye, and that's more like a leader type.
Yeah, it's like a spirituality kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would suit a cult faction.
It could go either way. They could, people could walk past them backstage and it'd be like Jinder Mahal on WWE and they're like standing there doing yoga. Or they could actually be a serious like threat. So it could go either way. You could play it for comedy or you could play it seriously. Then we get the Cult of Drake. As I mentioned, they're backstage and they're all amped up. They're so excited about how good like Eli Drake's just standing there on his phone, just texting. And they rock up. They're like, how good was it? Yeah. They're doing the yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
And Eli's just like, you did nothing. Like, you just stood there like the dummies you are. Yeah. Like, it was amazing. I love everything about Eli Drake.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so good.
He said, like, he just comes up with like little one-liners too. Like, I'm an uncommon man against all these common idiots, and like, it's nothing amazing, but it just the way he delivers it. I'm just like, this guy's money through and through. He tells them that they couldn't beat Joe Hendry or Grado. You couldn't even beat these guys, and he just points to two random guys that are walking down the hall, and then Cult of Lee step up to these guys like, oh, you think you can beat us? You think you can beat us because you have a beard? We have a beard, and we're friends with Eli Drake. What are your names? Dummy? What are your names? Dummy?
Oh, so good.
Cult of Lee thinking that they're Eli Drake's best friends was highly entertaining.
One thing that I'm not too happy about is one of those random guys, I believe, is Mr. Atlantis from
Mr. Atlantis from the One Night Only.
And remember when I had a few choice words about him before? About looking like a Chris Masters wannabe?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Not happy, Impact. Not happy. Don't bring him back.
He was a jobber, though, but they won. We'll get to that. Then we get a promo from Brian Cage. It's the first time he speaks. I thought, considering they amped this up like last week, like, oh, Brian Cage is going to speak next week. I thought it was kind of...
Yeah, it was meh.
It's like, you don't hype up a guy who's not a promo guy. Don't hype up a promo for a guy that's not a promo guy. You know?
Brian Cage needs like a Paul Heyman type guy leading him around. I think.
Yeah. Or not even necessarily a Paul Heyman, but like even like a... I don't know, face managers are hard, because Brian Cage is a face to me, like, through and through. I mean, you could have him be a heel, I guess, but like a Jimmy Jacobs kind of character too would be good.
See, I think Brian Cage is a heel in Lucha, isn't he?
I
think he is.
Kind of. There's a lot more shades of grey in Lucha. Like, Pentagon is technically a heel in Lucha with the things he does, but the crowd love him. So it's kind of, it's a more shades of grey WWE kind of cheer who you want, boo who you want. You know, it's a little more freewheeling. I mean, look at Jake Strong, right? When you watch Lucha Underground, he's out there snapping people's necks, snapping people's ankles, refusing to break the hold, and he's getting cheered like he's a face, and the crowd do the strong chant. You know, that crowd's all backwards.
Yeah, I just think Brian Cage would work better as a heel, and I think this will turn him a heel with his match against Phoenix next weekend.
Oh, it's absolutely possible, but I just see him as a really athletic guy that people cheer because he does amazing things.
Yeah.
You know? Because he's jacked and he does things he should not be able to do.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I think...
So that's exciting.
I think I think he'll work even better as a heel.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a Johnny Mundo situation, right? Or Johnny Impact in this context, right? Because he's a very exciting worker and you want to cheer him. But then he's so cocky and arrogant that he works so well as a heel.
Yeah.
And it's different because Cage isn't cocky and arrogant. What you want Cage to be is dominant and strong.
Yeah.
And be the monster heel. But it's... Yeah, I think they're going a different route. I'd be curious to see. He could go full heel against Phoenix. That's absolutely a possibility.
Yeah. I think they're leaning towards it, especially with a match against Phoenix.
Yeah, but essentially Cage just says he's redefining wrestling, and it's like, okay, cool. So that's the tagline for next week's show anyway, so you're just a shill, man. You're just a company shill. Then we get the GWN flashback moment of the week, which is AJ Styles returning to help James Storm against Legion of Boom, who people may know as a CU.
Yeah, I think...
Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian.
I think these are the moments they need to have constantly.
Yeah, right? Guys that are Impact guys that have now made a name.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just stop showing me Sting on your... If the next time I see Sting on a GWN moment of the week, I'm throwing it in the river. Like, just going for a drive and dumping my iPad in the river with Sting's face there on pause. Like, I don't want to see Sting. I'm sorry. I was never a huge Sting... I'm going to upset some people too, because I know Sting's very popular. But I was never a huge Sting fan. And when he came to TNA, I mean, well, I wasn't watching at that point, but I heard he was in TNA. I was like, yeah, he would go to TNA. You know? Like, yeah. Because that was kind of the reputation I had of TNA in my mind back then.
Yeah, I've kind of got a similar output on you.
Yeah, when he came back to WWE as well, and everyone was all excited for his match at WrestleMania, I was like, oh, who cares? Like, I just don't care.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think he was too great. Like, gotta give him...
Kevin Nash is another one too. If you show Kevin Nash on a GWN moment of the week, it's going in a pit somewhere. I'll find a pit and drop my iPad in a pit because I don't want to see Kevin Nash or Sting on GWN. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting carried away. Moving on, we have Fowler Bar has a present for KM. And then they come out. You're going to be real surprised by this. They come out, and KM and Falabar have matching gear now.
Yeah, and Falabar makes KM leave his boots at the top of the entrance.
Yeah, because Falabar wrestles without boots on, because that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, and they've got to wear matching gear to win.
Falabar has to be, without a doubt, the dumbest character in all of professional wrestling history, right? Like, and I'm talking Eugene. Eugene was smarter than Falabar. This guy is just dumb.
You just need to start going to bar lesson classes, I think.
There's classes? They have classes in this
Go to your local TAFE and sign up for the bar language class.
Bar as second language?
Yeah. And then you might actually get this tag team. I mean...
I don't know. He made him take his boots off. And then they go in and they have a match with the Sing and... sorry. They have a match with the Desi Hit Squad.
Yeah. And... I don't know...
They do the stupid roll.
The panda roll
thing.
I don't know what they're going to do with the Desi Hit Squad because they had all this momentum coming in and now they've had back-to-back losses.
One of them to KM and Falabar.
Yeah. And I don't know what they're doing. Like, what have they done wrong?
Yeah.
Have they pissed someone off?
I know, they'll probably get their heat back by beating Cult of Lee.
Also, KM's Powerbomb, we talked about it last week, is wrestling moves that don't want you to do wrestling ever. There's one of them.
Yeah.
That
It's pretty
Powerbomb
brutal.
into the knees is... Ooh. That made me cringe.
It's scary.
That made me...
It's scary. Anything where the neck is the part for me that scares the hell out of me.
Then after that, the Bonza drop, which makes you not want to wrestle either.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just, I begrudgingly have to give it to them this week. It was somewhat entertaining because of the story. Because of the story of like, okay, we tried it KM's way and it wasn't working, and then Scarlett Bordeaux got involved and told KM, look, maybe you should try it Fowler's way, and then this week they tried it Fowler's way and they won a match. And it's an interesting story, and the question is, now, does KM embrace this, or does he go full heel and be like, everyone's wrong kind of thing, and be that delusional heel and turn on Falabar because he can't handle the fact that he was so wrong? Does that make sense?
I think that would be atrocious, but I think a KM Falabar rivalry would be atrocious.
More atrocious than the KM Falabar tag team?
Yeah, because Falabar can
Alright,
wrestle.
fair enough. Well, I don't know if I'm just getting used to it or if they're actually getting better. But I don't like Falabar. It's just the bar thing, the not wearing boots, his gimmick is being fat. Like, his finisher is, I'm gonna roll over the top of you. That's worse than the stink face. It's worse than the stink face.
It is pretty bad. But
at least Rikishi had that extra part to his gimmick where, like, oh, did he eat Mexican today? I don't know. It's terrible. He's a panda. He's just a panda. Yeah. I mean, look, if he was in Lucha Underground playing an actual panda,
that would be good.
I'd probably think he was like the best thing ever, But it's all about context. Yeah. So, anyway, we'll move on from there. We get Joe Hendry and Katarina trying to make Grado feel better, and then Scarlett Bordeaux shows up after Joe Hendry and Katarina wander off. They do that a lot. They just wander off and leave Grado milling about.
Yeah, well, they've gone kissing.
Yeah, they've gone off to smooch somewhere in secret. And Scarlett Bordeaux shows up, which, honestly, man, you're trading up.
Oh, well, yeah.
But she invites Grado and Katarina and Hendry onto her show next week. And I thought it was really nice. Bobo was there with a fan.
Bobo's awesome. Yeah.
Did you notice that? Bobo's just there fanning her off. I thought that was brilliant. And then, yeah, so she invites him onto the show, and but first he has to do something for her because she's going to help him with his girl troubles, and so he has to pole dance for her for some reason, and then she spanks him. It was really random.
Do you know how I've been pretty critical of the Grado character the last couple of weeks, but this was awesome. I actually loved this segment. Like, it was so good, and Bobo eating the popcorn.
I didn't even pick up on that. I was paying a lot of attention to Scarlett Bordeaux's reactions because she looked like she was having a good
Bobo
time.
had a bag of popcorn just thrown it at his face, just trying to shovel it in his mouth. I reckon that was awesome.
Bobo is pretty great.
It was hilarious.
But it was just random too. Like, why is she wanting him? I think that her whole thing, like, she has like a power thing, Like, she's kind of like a lady dom almost because she just likes to get men to do things.
Yeah, well, it's like a seductive power that she's got.
Yeah, because she's got Bobo fanning her and carrying her bags when he was an announcer. He had a real job. And now he's like her manservant. Like, does he even get paid? Like, what's going on there? And then yeah, like, she invites KM and Fala Bar on, and then she toys with KM, being like, oh, you should do things the Fala Bar way. And now she has Grado. And so I'm really curious to see what she's going to do next week and how the interaction between Katarina and her are going to be, because that's the first actual female interaction that she's going to have other than Alicia Atow.
Does this get Bordeaux in the ring?
Yeah, maybe. Does it get her in the ring with Katarina? I mean, is she going to try to drive a wedge with Katarina and Hendry. There's a lot of ways
Yeah.
it can go.
They can build
But once, like we're going to say this a lot on Impact. There's a lot of ways this can go. They're telling their stories in such a way that everything is very open. It's very exciting.
It's just going to be like something that they can pick multiple scenes, pretty much. Like they can do Grado, Grado and Bordeaux versus Hendry and Katarina.
Right, like she could get further into his head and turn him heel, but like I said about the whole jealous boyfriend
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, and she could be the wedge there. She could be the wedge with Joe Hendry. Like she could, like, you know, you could after the show get her Joe Hendry stay back for a second, and she's like, you know, you could do so much better, you know, and maybe he falls under her spell. There's a lot of ways it can go. It's very fun. I'm really digging Scarlett Bordeaux. She's one of the highlights of my week.
Yeah, she's doing real good.
She plays the character so well.
And it's bringing sexy back to the women's division.
yeah, good fun. So then, Alicia Edwards versus Kiera Hogan. This match was better than it had any right to be. Kiera Hogan is good, but everything I've seen from Alicia Edwards before has just been eh. And this match wasn't anything special, but it was a good match.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about it.
No, like it was like I said, it wasn't special. There was nothing amazing. It's not up to the standard necessarily, but like the basics were there.
Don't get me wrong, Alicia Edwards is getting better, but
okay, let me put it in perspective. Compare this to any women's match from 2004.
yeah,
you know?
That's true.
Like in terms of the standard now is so high, and so you would want them to be better. But they're
that's what I was just about to say as well. Like because of the standard of the women's division at the moment, like you expect so much more from every women's match that you watch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a double-edged
yeah,
blade.
I'm a bit of a hard critic when it comes to bad women's wrestling matches.
Yeah. No, I can be as well, but I think I'm coming at it more from the perspective of I was expecting it to be really bad, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like there were a couple of like Alicia was a little bit slow on some of her like the roll-ups and stuff, and like the turning over and the Boston Crab. It was like she was overthinking. I don't know, but essentially the match was a basic match. Kiera Hogan picks up the win. And then Ali comes in and says she's proud of her. And I was like, why are you proud of her? She beat Alicia Edwards. Like,
maybe Alicia needs to get back with Eddie so she can train a bit more.
But like, if she'd beaten Madison Rayne, then you could say you're proud of her. But she beat Alicia Edwards. Like, you know, and I don't think anyone thought Kiera Hogan was not going to win, you know? Anyway, she doesn't want to ruin her moment, but she has something to say. And the line of the night goes to the fan. Did you hear it?
I don't think I did. I don't think I catch that.
So when she says, I don't want to ruin your moment, just one random fan, you hear him yell out clear as day, yes, you do!
I didn't catch that.
It was great, because I was thinking it as well. I was thinking it, and then out of my left headphone comes this voice, yes, you do!
I did not catch that.
I lost it. I had to rewind because I was laughing so hard I didn't catch the rest of the promo.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that bit again.
It was fantastic. So yeah, she says she doesn't want to ruin a moment, but she has something to say. So obviously she does want to ruin the moment because that's what she's doing. And by the way, the moment that she's ruining is a victory over Alicia Edwards. That's so, take that for what it is. So she tells Su Yung that she took out Madison and she took out her best friend Rosemary, and that now she's made Ali discover her purpose, and her purpose is to end Su Yung, right? And every time she tries, she has to look over her shoulder for Tessa, so she figures she needs to just put them both in front of her, and then that match gets made for next week on Impact. So apparently Ali is the booker.
Yeah, she's the new TNA Impact booker, should I say, not TNA.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Tessa is right. I want a shirt now that says Tessa was right. I feel like Tessa was right because Ali clearly just wants to get in a title match.
Yeah, and it's going on what Tessa said last week, I'm pretty sure. How she said Ali just wants a knockouts title match, and that's all she wants.
Yeah. And it's all manipulation. Yeah. Because it does feel that way, because, like, why, like, you could have just been like, I'm going to get rid of Tessa first, and then I'm going to come after you. That's what most people would do. But no, you're like, I need you both at once, because you want to win the title. That's what it's about for you. You're an egotistical narcissist.
Yeah. That's pretty much where what Tessa can do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So then the next part was really random, this next segment. Disco Inferno is interviewing Johnny Impact at a swimming pool. Because reasons? Like, what the hell? When did Disco Inferno come to Impact? Like, what the hell?
Ridiculous.
Why are they at a pool? Like, it's not like again, it's not like they're in Florida or anything. They're in Toronto. You know, a place not known for its resorts. Like, if they were at a ski lodge, it would make more sense.
This was crazy.
And then they do a bit with, you know, he's cutting his promo and he's saying that now that he's taken care of Congo Kong, there's nothing in the way of him in the world title. And of course, Congo Kong shows up and tries to push him in the pool. But alas, Johnny is too smart and Congo Kong gets thrown into the pool.
Yeah, that was silly.
I actually thought it was good. Have you been watching NXT?
Here and there. I can't say.
Right, because a couple of weeks ago, EC3 and Velveteen Dream did pretty much the exact same spot, where Velveteen Dream ended up in the pool. And it was terrible. It was really badly... it was shot really well, but it was just a terrible segment that everyone crapped on and thought it was terrible, because it was. And I felt like this was almost Impact being like, look, we're better. Because they did the exact same thing, and it was better. It was much better than the NXT version. So I challenge you to go watch the NXT version and then still tell me that this was bad.
I think it just comes down to, like, Impact's sort of cinematic help they've had that made this better.
Well, no, the NXT one was actually more cinematic. I think it was actually produced by Jeremy Borash, who came from Impact. So it was, I don't know, these two segments kind of are really interlocked to me. But the Impact one was better. It was less cinematic, but it was better.
Well, what does that say, guys?
Yeah. I mean, because the NXT one really upset me too, because Velveteen Dream is one of the best guys in the company. So anyway, we'll bring it back. Essentially, it looks like Congo Kong and Johnny Impact is not finished yet. We thought it was. We thought that he would probably move on to the world title, I think. But
I think they've got one more match about,
and then he moves on to the world title?
Nah.
Who else can feasibly face Austin Aries?
I reckon just get Pentagon back in there. My boy.
Yeah, you would think that, but he's going to WWE, man.
No, he's not.
I think he might be.
Do not say that.
I think he might be, but let's...
Please don't say that.
I think we're going to see Sami Callihan write Pentagon out, so let's move on. Rich Swann is being interviewed by Alicia Atout, and he's asked what his goal is in Impact. And this is one of those things where I get why you do it, but I disagree with it personally, because to me, if you don't want to be the world champion, why are you here?
Yeah.
And Rich Swann says his goal is to become the X Division champion. It's like, come on, man.
I reckon that's like, it's kind of building the X Division title, I think.
Yeah, well, that's the other way to look at it, is they're trying to pump up the X Division title, but I just think it makes you look like an idiot, because who doesn't want to be the world champion?
Yeah, that's true. He probably just... I think it's good in a way, but like, he's not being signed from the WWE and pushed straight up into a world title shot as well, so...
Yeah, I agree with you there. And he does pump up the lineage, like he's talking about, you know, the people who've held the belt, like your AJ Styles, your Chris Sabins, your Petey Williams. And then they talk about him having a match with Petey Williams next week. So it makes sense. But so he's on the path to the X Division title. And the thing is, he cannot beat Brian Cage.
No. No, it's going to... For Brian Cage to lose that title, it's going to take... I think it's going to take an interference from someone for him to actually lose that title.
Yeah, or I could see Killer Cross becoming the X Division champion.
Yeah.
And then I could see pretty much anyone being able to beat Killer Cross on the right day. I don't know. It's
just another...
Yeah. It's curious, and I'm not sure where it's going. Again, like I said, we're going to say that a lot with Impact.
Yeah, but putting an end to that segment anyway, I think Swan's going to do well in Impact. And
yeah, he's going to... He puts on exciting matches.
Yeah.
Now, Pentagon says he's the king of the Mexican deathmatch, which, was invented a week ago. And he says it's about honor, dignity, pride, and respect, and Sammy will learn to respect him when he inflicts so much pain on him because he is Pentagon and he has cero miedo. Good little promo. I love that I can say good little promo even though he's speaking Spanish.
Yeah. I like his little catchphrase at the end as well, which means zero fear in English.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think so. You're going to hate me for talking about it, but if he's going to WWE, I don't think Vince will allow this to work. And this is the best thing about his character, I think.
Well, that's why I don't want him to go there.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know they won't want him to speak Spanish.
Unless they will, maybe, because they're doing that whole global push,
Yeah, they could, but, I think there was a big thing about CN, about not being able to speak English very well at one stage, and that's why he sort of got kicked to the curb for a little. Yeah, and got kicked to the curb for a little bit until he started learning English.
Yeah. I don't know. They let Hideo Itami speak Japanese in his promos, but that's on 205 Live.
Which is
whereas
Triple H.
Yeah, whereas Shinsuke Nakamura, he does, all English. Which doesn't make sense to me, because he's so charismatic and you can feel his charisma either way. So, and that's the thing with Pentagon, is you can feel his charisma. He doesn't need to... If he spoke English, it would probably break it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
They need a...
I don't know.
If he wants to go to WWE, they need to sort something out to keep him either speaking Spanish or get him a really good English teacher.
Then we get Alicia Ata trying to interview Austin Aries, but he just goes on a tirade about Moose and how he's crushed his dreams the first time, and the next time they're going to end his career. And he says it's a we now because he's not alone. And next week they're going to have a tag match. It's Austin Aries and Killer Cross against Eddie Edwards and Moose. Saw that coming?
Yeah.
Pretty safe to say.
Yep. And they're going to end him for good.
Yeah. And then we get the highlight of the night, the Cult of Drake
versus Brandon Tidwell and Mr. Atlantis.
The team collectively known as These Guys.
Dummies, yeah.
Dummies, yeah. So Eli Drake comes out on commentary. That's why it was highlight of the night, obviously. And he's very much being like, I have nothing to do with these guys. They're following me around. There's a bunch of dummies.
How cool was it when Trevor Lee done the Eli Drake elbow?
Yes. Oh, man. And hits the ropes. Eli Drake hits the elbow and Drake stands up.
And then he gets out of the ring and Conley goes for the gravy train and Trevor Lee's celebrating on the ringside. And then the jobbers get the win.
Oh, I love this match. I love this segment. Eli Drake standing up being like, you better pin him. You better pin him if you're going to do that move. And then he didn't pin him. Everything about this was fantastic.
Oh, it was awesome.
And yeah, and I think that Eli Drake is now... I think that he's had his role... He's played his role in the Grado story, right? And he's sort of set them against each other, and now he's done there. He's won. He can move on. And I think he moves on to this Cult of Lee story, which... This is the thing with the stories on Impact. Last week, I never would have thought that this Cult of Lee thing would become Eli Drake's next story. I thought it was just a thing they did so he had someone to help with the Grado thing. But now it's their storylines intermesh and just flow so well. And so now he's got this Cult of Lee situation going on. And he's going to, try to get rid of them. He's probably going to end up having some 2-on-1 matches with them, and they're just going to keep following him around. And maybe that's when Matt Sydal gets involved, and maybe we see Matt Sydal against Eli Drake, and maybe the Cult of Lee. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways it can go.
Yeah.
But I think we're heading towards that sort of situation.
Yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing, Eli.
Yeah, he elevates anyone who's in there with him, right? Because, you care more about the Grado and Joe Hendry story now than you did before.
Yeah.
And I care more about Cult of Lee. Like, I loved... Trevor Lee is one of my favorite guys,
Yeah,
right? From
you've
when he
always
was
said
in
that.
PWG. Yeah,
Always.
when he was in PWG and stuff years ago. I love Trevor Lee. And I care more about them now. Like, he's so funny doing his Eli Drake
That was
impression when he
awesome.
did the elbow. It was so good. Everything about this is good. And that's why Eli Drake should be the world champion. Because he elevates everyone.
Yeah, I think they just need to get a bit more security with him before they put him back in the title scene.
Yeah. Right, then we have LAX celebrating that they got their championships back.
Yeah, I didn't like this angle or this
You didn't like this angle.
segment.
All right, do you want to run through it? Do you want to talk about what?
So pretty much Hernandez and Homicide were in a car driving.
Yeah.
Conan's talking about how the OGs are done, and he has a surprise for his boys. And while they're in the car, while they're crossing the street, should I say, the OGs hit one of the partygoers, which was a kid.
Yeah, like a 7 or 8 year old kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, first of all, LAX, why are you having a 7 or 8 year old kid at a gang party? Okay? That's irresponsible. Second of all, when they all crossed the road, okay, they all got out of the way. They didn't think to grab the kid.
Yeah. I didn't think it had good taste about it.
Oh, are you one of those? You think they went too far?
Not that they went too far, because it wasn't even that bad. Like, you could tell he didn't get hit by the car. Like, it was one of the...
Yeah.
It was...
It's an Impact cinematic. It's a little bit cheesy,
Yeah,
but not all the way.
Like,
yeah.
I just think they could have done something else with this angle instead.
I loved it. I thought they were going for a drive-by.
See that?
I thought they were going to shoot the party up.
That would have been better.
It probably would have been better, to be honest.
I would have
with you.
preferred...
But,
leave the kids out of it. Leave them out of it.
but I've seen I've seen a lot of stuff online about this. Have they gone too far, including violence against a child, a hit and run? So I just want to do something real quick.
If I can be serious for a minute, without being interrupted.
Everyone needs to grow the hell up. Like, it's a TV show. People are talking about it. I did this exact same bit on All the Rest yesterday, but I'm doing it here because it's relevant. People need to, like, put the big boy pants on, really. Because, yes, okay, it's never comfortable to see something like this happen, especially with a child involved. It's never comfortable, okay? But this is fiction, and fiction is meant to make us uncomfortable sometimes. If fiction doesn't make you uncomfortable sometimes, it is not doing its job. Because the idea of fiction, yes, it's to escape, it's to enjoy, and all of that stuff. But it's also to make you reflect on the world and make you reflect on life. Right now, I made the jokes just before about they could, why was he at this party? It's so irresponsible, like, there are parenting lessons to learn from this stupid little angle that they run on a freaking wrestling show. It's a TV show, people. It's not fucking real. They didn't actually hurt a 7-year-old. Like, do they need to put that little tag at the end that says no children were harmed in the making of this scene? Like grow the fuck up. This is wrestling and we're adults. Oh, man.
I'd just like to add before, like, I said leave the kids out of it, but, like, it's like a sarcastic thing. Because
Yeah.
like you did say, I didn't like the whole segment because I just thought it was a bit too cheesy for me. But in saying that,
Right.
I've seen a lot of it on the internet saying about a kid, blah, blah, blah. Like, you've seen
Yeah, no, I've seen like actual think pieces about they've gone too far. You can't do this kind of thing. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about your criticism. Like the whole, it's cheesy, it's not for me. If that's your problem with this, that's fine. Like I understand that. But if you're like, you can't do an angle like this because it's bad. What about parents that are watching that have had their children taken from them, or because that's the kind of thing I've been seeing online, and I'm like it's a fucking fiction, and you can't avoid these things. These things happen in real life, so there's going to be stories about them too.
Yeah.
Like, grow the fuck up.
Like,
We're adults. And this is an adult wrestling program too. It's not PG,
If parents have got a problem, just remember, when I was growing up, I seen Shawn Michaels and Triple H's ass on Raw when I was growing up. So just remember.
Yeah.
I seen asses. I seen grown male asses when I was a 6-year-old.
Yeah, and women wrestling in mud and having to take each other's clothes off to win matches.
So it's kind of tame, but like I said, I just didn't enjoy it just because of what it was. It was too cheesy for me. A kid getting hit by a car.
Absolutely.
Meh.
Well, like straight after it, they do like a point of view shot, like his eyes are closing, and like you're seeing it from his point of view. I thought that was stupid. Like I'm a fan of the cinematic style, but that was dumb. Like having a point of view shot from a dying child, like
I just think they could have done so much more better with like a car driving past, like as you said, like a drive-by shooting where Ortiz gets shot or something.
Yeah, I think that would have been better, and like you could even use it to play off like. You could have Conan get shot in the leg or something, and then he never is able to walk properly again. And for the rest of his wrestling career, he can use like a walking stick gimmick or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways you can go with it that would have been really interesting if they did the drive-by. And then you get the whole, if people are up in arms about this, imagine people if they used gun violence. They'd be like, gun violence in wrestling? Oh, their heads would explode. But I think that would get better attention. I don't think this will get any good attention, unfortunately. It's one of those things.
Before we go on,
I don't have a problem with it, but it wasn't great, but I enjoyed it still, and it's made the story. The story is really.
Before we go on,
you know,
was there any criticism when Johnny Mundo or Johnny Impact on Lucha Underground cut? What's his name? Vibra or?
Vibra, cut his head off.
Yeah.
No, of course not. I mean, that's on a little channel that's made for people who enjoy that kind of thing.
But still,
so I don't.
You do hear about those things on the internet,
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, when you tune into Lucha Underground, you're tuning in for a blood and guts show.
I
Did
haven't
you watch
caught
this
up
week?
on it yet.
Oh man, yeah. You like hardcore wrestling, right?
Actually, I did see that scene. Where
which scene?
Mac had his freaking head cut with a freaking knife.
Well, yeah, with like the cross between the machete and the knife. Yeah, there were two matches. There was the haunted house match, which was the Mac and Mil Muertes, and that was very violent and bloody. But then as well, Pentagon and Cage is very violent and bloody as well.
What I love.
So Cage actually smashes a glass bottle against the turnbuckle pad, like against the post, and then like he's ripped open Pentagon's mask, and they do a close up of him just digging this broken glass bottle into Pentagon's forehead.
I'd love to see what the PC groups would say if they ever watched.
Well, I just don't think. Apparently, they're just not watching Lucha Underground, or the people who do Lucha Underground just don't care. And so when they complained in the first season, they didn't get any reaction, so they stopped. I don't know.
Yeah, if they like complaining,
I have no idea.
Don't watch Lucha, and stop watching Impact if you're going to complain about a kid being run over.
Well, that's my thing. Is just stop watching because like if you don't like it, just don't watch it. And at the end of the day, this is going to be Don Callis has said repeatedly, and Austin Aries said in an interview this week that a lot of people at Impact feel like wrestling has been too kid-friendly for too long. And so they want to bring back more adult
It's true,
elements.
They haven't built towards the adult side of the industry for ages. Like, they've just kind of said, yeah, we've had the Attitude Era, that's enough to keep the adults interested.
Yeah, so now we're getting, Mexican death matches, and you're getting Mexican death matches. You're getting the smoke show Scarlett Bordeaux sexualizing women again, which is a no-go in 2018. You're getting, a kid being run over on television for this angle, which will make this feud even... Like, you thought this feud was personal before. They've just killed these guys' cousin or whatever, Like, it's... Or at least crippled him.
So,
yeah.
parents, lock up your kids.
So, I mean, it's... yeah. Make sure you know where your kids are. They should not be at gang parties after dark, carrying people's championship titles around. Also, why do gang members have championship titles? This is a strange world we live in. It's wrestling, people. It's wrestling. Anyway, moving on, we get the Don Callis and Josh Matthews get to be all somber, like that was a terrible thing we just saw, which I always... maybe I just have a terrible sense of humor. I always laugh when announcers come back from something that's an angle, and there's something like when Jerry the King Lawler had his heart attack live on air, and then Michael Cole is all somber while giving you updates on that. That is completely different. But when, Stone Cold Steve Austin gets hit by a car, or a child gets hit by a car, and then the announcers are like, oh, this is what just happened. Or even worse, when like Braun Strowman tips over an ambulance that supposedly has Roman Reigns inside, right? Like when stuff like that happens, then the announcers are like, I can't believe what we've just seen. This is a terrible day. It just always makes me laugh. I can't. I'm like, this is a show, right? Like, I know. But then we get the Mexican death match. And this match, like I said, Lucha Underground was very violent this week. And this match kind of didn't live up to that violence, but it was still a really, really, really fucking good match.
It was awesome.
What was your favorite spot of the match?
Probably where Pentagon done his finisher on the chairs.
Right. So he's done that a few times now. He did that in their original match, right? And then he did it in Lucha Underground to Brian Cage as well.
And for Sammy to kick out.
Yeah.
Was crazy.
I thought the Lego was nice. Bringing Lego death matches are always fun. So essentially, they had this cool gimmick. The Mexican death match had this cool gimmick with the piñatas around the ring. And so at first I thought it was kind of hokey, like, oh, you got piñatas around the ring, ha ha. But then Pentagon super kicked through one of the piñatas and ripped it open, and it had a staple gun in there. And then he stapled Sami Callihan's hat to his head. And yanked it off. And it actually took him 2 tries to yank it off.
Yeah.
That was... it made me cringe so much.
It was... Yeah, it was... I had a feeling that Sammy was going to win at the start.
Yeah.
Do you have that feeling?
Yep, I did.
Because he's lost too many times.
Yeah.
In like the past month.
Yeah, absolutely. So he ends up winning with a cactus driver from the top through a table. The cactus driver is a stump pile driver that he named after Cactus Jack. So, I mean, look, the big thing for me as well, the crowd were chanting, "This is Impact." That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
I think they're just growing and growing, to be honest. Like,
yeah, it's really, really good to see. But this match was really fun. Sammy gets the win, meaning now because it's really because of how personal the feud got. And the first match they had was Mask vs. Hair, so you don't realize, but this is actually only their second match.
Yeah, since Slammiversary, it's always been in a tag. He hasn't even wrestled in the tag matches.
No, Slammiversary was their first one-on-one match, and this was their second. So I think that their next one will be at Bound for Glory, and that'll be the rubber match. I think Sami Callihan wins this feud, and Pentagon goes packing on his back to WWE.
No.
Look, you can hate me all you want. It's happening. They have the checkbook, man. They have the checkbook.
I won't believe it until I see it.
All right, well, next week, Impact is redefined. We get Tessa Blanchard versus Ali versus Su Yung for the Knockouts Championship. We get Eddie Edwards and Moose versus Austin Aries and Killer Cross. Cage versus Phoenix for the X Division Championship. Rich Swann vs. Petey Williams, and a smoke show with Grado, Joe Hendry, and Katarina. We won't bother doing predictions or anything, but I think it's going to be a really good show. These special episodes always are. Sometimes they leave out the GWN moment as well, which is nice, so you actually get a full solid 2 hours. Next week will be one to tune in for. If you're not watching Impact, make sure you watch Redefined next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a killer show.
Anything else to touch on before we go home?
Pretty much that Madison Rain's finished with Impact for now.
Yeah, I saw that. She's officially gone from Impact. So she's taken part in the Mae Young Classic.
Which I thought I'd never see happen.
Yeah, there have been rumors that she's going to be in WWE, but she hasn't signed. That hasn't happened. And there's also, she's shown up in Ring of Honor a little for the Women of Honor division. So it looks like she may be heading over to do some more work with Women of Honor.
Yeah.
Which, it's good. There's a lot of fresh faces for her to work with. So I find it very exciting personally, but I can understand why you would be upset.
Yeah. But what can you do?
She came in for her quick little return and went out on her back like a veteran does.
Yeah, I'm glad she came back for what she did, but it was good.
Yeah.
And also, their Twitch streaming their MediaCon event on September 9th.
Right, and there's a one night only coming up this week as well, Night of the Dummies. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be an Eli Drake sort of event, sort of like the Pentagon event last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get a chance to watch those, do you think? Or
yeah, of course. You'd be crazy to miss them. So
I gotta get you to start watching Explosion too. You go full hog with this, be the Impact guy, just watch everything.
Yeah, I just need to find somewhere to watch it.
You have my GWN login.
Oh, that's right.
What are you talking about? Yeah, Explosion is on GWN.
I actually completely forgot.
Yeah. You can watch Explosion.
Yeah, I've just been watching Impact on it. I haven't even been looking at anything else on it. I've just been seeing Impact every week.
Oh, man, they've got some indies on there. World Series Wrestling. You can watch all of the World Series Wrestling matches on there.
That's why you need to get a GWN account. I didn't even notice.
People should be signing up. Yeah, there's a whole section if you click on indies and they have that what is it, Destiny or whatever that they work with? Destiny are on there, so you can watch Mr. Atlantis if that's your thing. No. If you want to watch more Mr. Atlantis, or what was that Explorer guy?
Oh.
You can watch more of The Adventurer. Or Rise is a really good one. They have the Rise shows on there as well. So yeah, Global Wrestling Network, definitely get on it. And in the meantime, make sure you give us a follow. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are known as the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. We are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we are on Facebook, Instagram, taking over the globe. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and thank you for listening.
Hold one! Arm drag!
You're not done with this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list!
So, no speak English.
Dummy!
Goodbye and good night.
Hold two! Arm bar!
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy!
Hold three. The moss covered. Three-handle family good uncle.